Welcome to the Automatic Door Installation Association BSEN 16005 Automatic Sliding Doors. Power operated door set with one or more leaves moving horizontally. Keywords: activation area, the area where the door will initiate its opening and closing cycle. Danger points, an area with risk of injury. Door opening width, the width in which there is an open space when the door is activated. Main closing edge, the part of the door that may cause harm when the door set is closing. Activation. The automatic activators are to ensure that the door is activated by a person approaching the door at a normal walking pace. The door set opens only when a person is close to the door due to continuous passage of people causing it to activate. The door set width and its opening speed will affect where activation will start to ensure that it will open in time. Activation can be radar, infrared sensors, matte activation, vision sensors, etc. What is matte activation? The door set is activated by pressure being applied to a mat. The mat should measure the same width of the door opening less a maximum of 75 mm on each side. The minimum depth of the mat should be 1000 mm from the plane of the door set or from the leading edge of the door set in open position. Mat activators shall be securely fastened to the floor without the risk of tripping. For two mat activators side by side, the inactive distance between them should not exceed 60 mm. Sensor activation. What is sensor activation? Motion sensing devices or presence sensing devices initiate door set movement. The edge of the activation area for standard sliding doors is a minimum of 1000 mm from the centre of the door set. Activation area for a door on an emergency or escape route without breakout is a minimum of 1500 mm. It must cover at least the entire opening width. What is manual activation? Manual activation is when the door is activated by a trigger such as a press pad. The activation device must be located in a position where they do not put the user in a potential crushing hazard. Shall be positioned where the user has a clear view of the door set and not susceptible to inadvertent activation. Must be clearly identified and visible. May be provided on power-operated door sets used by the public, for instance, to help the elderly and infirm persons. What is remote activation? Remote activation enables the door to be achieved via remote command that may be used at a distance from the door set. Activation may be caused by a signal from a fire alarm or a centralized control station following a power failure or by other sources. The remote activation of a door set on escape or emergency route shall only initiate the opening of the door set. Avoidance of danger points. Protection at danger points. Power-operated pedestrian door sets are designed to avoid any dangerous hazards that may cause injury. Crushing, shearing, impact and drawing in during the opening and closing cycles. Danger points should be protected up to 2.5 meters above the floor with the exception of the top of the door set, as this is not considered a danger point as any contact with this area requires intentional action. The following can be used to safeguard the danger points: guards, barriers, limitation of impact forces, protective devices, safety distances, low energy movement. Guards are generally known as pocket screens when used with the sliding doors. They prevent anyone reaching any of the danger points up to the height of 2.5 meters, can only be removed or opened with the aid of a tool. Barriers prevent pedestrians from entering non-safe zones by directing traffic. They shall be designed so that children cannot easily climb over or crawl under them, suitably secured, able to withstand forces occurring in normal service, a minimum of 900 mm high, not to create new hazards, for example, drawing in or shearing. Telescopic sliding doors cannot use barriers or guards as the door set is designed to create a wider opening. Should a barrier or a guard be installed, it would block a large portion of the doorway. Keywords: limitation of impact forces, preventing the amount of force of an automatic door when coming into contact with a person. Dynamic force, the force which creates motion. Protective devices, devices used to decrease the risk of injury. Low energy door set, an automated door set with low kinetic motion energy. Main closing edge. Safeguarded, when an area is protected. Limitation of impact forces. The dynamic forces impacting on a person or an obstacle are considered safe if it does not exceed the figures below. The maximum permitted dynamic force varies depending on the distance between the door leaf and the opposing edge. The measuring points for each door type are given in Annex B of the BSEN 16005. Please observe this diagram. Dynamic impact forces should be measured at 1200 mm from the finished floor and then at 50 mm, 300 mm and 500 mm in both opening and closing directions. Please see Annex B pages 32 and 33. Protective devices can be pressure sensitive protective equipment, PSPE, requires interaction for activation, for example, mats, trip bars, pressure sensitive edges, etc. Electrosensitive protective equipment, ESPE, activated by interruption or reflection of beams and waves, for example, light detectors, vision detector sensors, photocells, etc. Protective devices shall comply to the EN ISO 13849-1, Performance Level C, cover the whole of the potential hazard, prevent hazardous leaf movements, be tested by the operator before use, protect to a level of at least IP44 or higher if exposed to outdoor conditions, comply with EN 12978. Safety distances to prevent crushing or drawing in: more than 200 mm for the head, less than 8 mm or more than 25 mm for fingers, more than 500 mm for the body. Use of a low-energy sliding door set movement should only be considered when the risk assessment has taken into account elderly, infirm and disabled users and indicates that the risk to these users is low. Requirements for low-energy movement: the kinetic energy of a door set in motion shall not exceed 1.69 joules. The force required to prevent a stop door from opening or closing any further shall not exceed 67 newtons. In the event of interruption of the mains power failure or drive, it shall be possible to open the door set with a manual force not exceeding 90 newtons. A static closing force up to 150 newtons is allowed during the last 50 mm for a low energy sliding door set. Opening cycle. Option 1. Danger of crushing and impact is safeguarded if the doors move across a flat surface, the safety distance is less than 200 mm between rear edge of the door set and any adjacent structure, the dimension from the face of the door to screen is greater than 100 mm, the dynamic force of the leaves is limited to 400, 700 and 1400 newtons, the doors move across a flat surface, the dimension from the face of the door to the flat surface is less than 100 mm and greater than 150 mm. Protective devices in accordance with BSEN 16005 4.6.8 are fitted to safeguard between the secondary closing edge and any adjacent structure. Guards, pocket screens, are fitted in accordance with the BSEN 16005 4.6.9. They shall be greater than 8 mm or less than 25 mm in front of the door set leaf and a minimum of 2.5 meters high. Barriers are fitted in accordance with BSEN 16005 4.6.10. They shall be greater than 8 mm or less than 25 mm in front of the door set leaf and a minimum of 900 mm high. The movement fulfills the low energy requirements in accordance with BSEN 16005 4.6.4. Closing cycle. CA reference body, a test box which simulates obstacles which are placed in the place of the door sensors. Option 1. Safeguards shall be provided at the danger points during closing cycles if protective devices in accordance with 4.6.8 are provided at the main closing edge so that in the protection area, see Annex C, the reference body, CA, is detected in all positions of the travel area of the door set leaves. The CA reference body measures 700 mm by 300 mm by 200 mm. Please observe the test body in all positions. Escape routes. Operating mode selection determines the behaviour of the door. Side screen, panels next to the door set which do not move and are not automated. Breakout function, system whereby door set leaves and side screens can be pushed open. Operating mode selection. The mode of operation should be available to be identified easily. If a locked mode of operation is available, the mode of operation will be protected by an access code or key, so that changes can be made by the authorised personnel only. Sliding door sets with breakout function. Maximum width of floor guide slots should be greater than 20 mm. Leaves should be able to break out into any position in the direction of escape. Emergency breakout sign will be fitted. The force required to break out should not exceed 220 newtons. The maximum force to open a door after breakout, if closing device is fitted, is 150 newtons. When door set or side screen is broken out, the automatic movement shall stop or reach a predetermined safe position and stop. Sliding door sets without breakout function. Door sets with a clear opening width of up to 2000 mm shall open at least 80% within 3 seconds of activation in the escape direction, or 5 seconds when power supply goes off. Door sets should be able to last more than 1 million cycles. The opening of the door set shall be guaranteed a fail-safe system in accordance with Performance Level D of the EN ISO 13849-1. The fail-safe system shall be automatically tested at least every 24 hours. If checks are not performed or if it fails, the door set will open and remain so. Signage. Two-way will open with traffic from both directions, both faces of leaf, side screen or wall. One-way will open with one direction of traffic, both faces of leaf, side screen or wall, opposing faces of leaf. Please continue to the quiz by clicking Mark Complete.